truth tells us in Romans 8, the 5th through the 8th chapter, for those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. So then, those who are in the flesh cannot please God. So are you self-medicating and self-healing and self-delivering? If you are, you cannot please God. The Message version, I love when Minister Tondela said this morning, what Pastor usually say, the hood version. Those who think they can do it on their own end up obsessed with measuring their own moral muscle, but never get around to exercising it in real life. Those who trust God's action in them find that God's Spirit is in them, living and breathing God. I don't know about you, but I want to live and breathe God. Obsession with self in these matters is a dead end. Attention to God leads us out into the open, into a spacious, free life. Focusing on the self is the opposite of focusing on God. Anyone completely absorbed in self ignores God, ends up thinking more about self than God. That person ignores who God is and what he is doing. And God isn't pleased at being ignored. We have to depend on him. Some truth tells us there are certain practices that help to relax the mind and body by holding back the activity of your mind and will, allowing one to know one's true self and be free. Focusing on controlling the energy within you. But the truth says in Philippians 4, 6 through 7, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasseth all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Jesus Christ. The truth. All the peace you're looking for is in Jesus. All the calmness and zen you're looking for is in Jesus. Galatians 5 and 13 said it is absolutely clear that God has called you to free life. Just make sure that you don't use this freedom as an excuse to do whatever you want to do and to destroy your freedom. Some truth tells you that everything is interconnected. This can be achieved through Zen and meditation. When you let go of all thoughts and ideas and judgment and focus on your breathing while maintaining a state or relaxed alertness, only then can you become present with what is. And here's what gets me. And to realize your Buddha nature. So while I'm practicing, I'm sitting and I'm focusing in on my breathing, the devil has it where you don't even realize that you're getting in touch with something else that is not God. You're realizing your Buddha nature. But the truth tells us, thou shalt have no other God before me. The truth even goes on to say in Judges 10 and 13, yet you have forsaken me and served other gods. Therefore I will deliver you no more. Go and cry out to the gods which you have chosen. Let them deliver you in your time of distress. I don't know about you, but in my time of distress, I need to call on Jesus. When my body is racking with pain, I can call on the truth. because I know he can deliver. I know he's able to heal me. When I need a miracle, I can call on the truth because he is able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than I can even ask or think. The truth. So it's important when we're talking about spiritual awareness that we don't go try to find it on our own. It's important when we're talking about spiritual awareness. We know that this type of true awareness is far deeper than what you see on the surface. And it is impossible to become fully aware spiritually without God. You can't do it on your own. Buddha can't help you. Zen can't help you. Only God has the truth and the gift that he gave to us in his son, Jesus Christ. Okay, you say, Minister Adair, I'm not practicing health and wellness. As you can see, some of us are just doing our thing. I'm not going to the new Zen Center down the street from my house, but even on my job, I'm practicing a new activity to resolve problems with coworkers. And I'm not saying this is wrong for you to resolve problems, because we all should have that ability to be able to solve complex problems. This can be good practice until it's not enough. Initially, it looks like everyone is in agreement. We take time to meditate and focus. We talk through the situation, and at the end of the conversation, the intent is for everyone to walk away having talked through and resolved differences, and all is well, except you never involved God. On the surface, everyone walks away shaking hands, hugging, smiling. It looks good. It feels good until she stepped on my toe, or she said something that made me think about the first time she disrespected me. Because God never intervened. And I'm not telling you to go into your work practices and just have a revival before you have a meeting. But as disciples of God, you need to consult God even before you have those types of meetings and depend on him. There are some practices that look good on the surface and they work on the surface, but disciples of God, we got to consult God to truly solve complex problems. We can't always see everyone's intentions or motives. We can't always see their underlying beliefs or their mental capacity to rightly divide. Unless we are spiritually aware, we settle for what looks good on the surface and not rely on God's discernment. Even in relationships, we focus sometimes on how the person looks and what they're saying that's tickling to the ear, and not on the intent of their heart. Even in business, sometimes we look at ideas and opportunities based on the surface views and never seek to determine if this is a good idea or a God idea. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 1 and 2, mortals make elaborate plans, but God has the last word. Humans are satisfied with whatever looks good. That's the word, that ain't me. Humans are satisfied with whatever looks good, but God probes for what is good. How many of you want to consult God for what is good? Because Sister Angela, that man might look good on the surface, and he might say the right things. He might say all the stuff that make you go, you so cute. But his intentions are far different than what you see, because you're tickled, because you feel good, because it looks good. But God probes for what is good. So you need to consult God even in relationships. You need to consult God even in business relationships. When you're making business deals, consult God even before you get to that space. God wants us to set our focus on what he has placed in us and not on our carnality. Sometimes your own intellect is not enough. It gives you the ability, God gives you the ability to discern. Our peace lies in him. Our ability to solve complex problems lies in him. Our ability to resist the enemy is through Christ. Our ability to make wise decisions is in him. So why are you still trying to do it on your own? Why are you still walking in like, I got this? Yeah, you smart. Yeah, you know your stuff. But God knows everything. He knows the intentions of the folks that you're even meeting with. Listen for his guidance, even during business meetings. Allow him to show you how to approach difficult people. That's the thing. We got some difficult people in life, especially after COVID. For some reason, people just seem like they're out of their minds. So how do we want to make sure that we're approaching difficult people, what seems difficult, and sometimes you're the difficult one. So even in yourself, you got to pray and ask God, control this thing in me. God, give me a spirit of humility. Help me to know that I'm no better than anybody else. I might be the leader on this job, but God, help me to bring that down. Because when it comes to God, we're all on the same playing field. Lean on the wisdom of God. Let him show you the innermost parts of every situation. God is a great discerner of motives. Therefore, when you are more aware spiritually, you can discern motives because he will reveal it to you. What we need is more revelation. 1 Corinthians 2, and the 10th through the 13th verse. But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. So when you're discerning spiritually and God gives you an idea in the middle of a meeting, they're looking at you like, where'd that come from? But guess what? Just try it and won't it work? See, won't it work? See, won't it be God give you the answers to those complex problems that you've been trying to solve on your own? But when you go to him and ask for his discernment as leaders, for those of us who are leading others, whether it's by title or by influence, sometimes the real leaders are not the people with the titles. You do know that, don't you? We must keep our focus on God, who is able to reveal the secret things to us. To lead effectively, we must pray and ask God to give us wisdom. He said that if you lack wisdom, all you got to do is ask him. All you got to do is ask. But we still running around here talking foolish, saying whatever comes to the top. When God is telling us all you got to do is ask for wisdom, and I'll show you how to navigate through the situation. Wisdom shows you. It might seem foolish, but wisdom will show you how to navigate through something, and everything will be revealed. To lead effectively, you ask him for the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, not only concerning your skills and craft, but to effectively lead others. Whether you have one person following you or 2,000. Whether you have 5 people or 50,000, it doesn't matter. And whether you are leading by title or by influence, God is depending on you to lead with him in mind. If you can influence those around you, you are a leader. And with that in mind, you must show up armed with the breastplate of righteousness. God will still hold you accountable for how you influence others. This year, let's be more aware of how we lead and influence others. Let's be more spiritually aware about the advice we give. Let's be more spiritually aware about the way we address situations, how we respond to others, and even the places we show up. We might have one intent, but remember the enemy has another intent. Remember, he has another purpose. He wants to get your focus not on God, but on whatever it is that he's replacing God with. And you don't even realize what you're doing. You don't even realize what's going on when all you're just trying to get in touch with self. But instead of getting in touch with self, get in touch with God. Be more aware and intentional about the mechanisms and practices we use to find peace and relaxation. The way we practice health and wellness, making sure we are not making something else our God. Be more aware of your decision-making practices in business and in your personal practices. Let's be more aware. Today, I just simply want to encourage you to be more intentional. I told you I wasn't going to hoop. God wanted me to just talk about this because we want to hear. A lot of us are going about our day doing things that seems innocent. But I ask you, I encourage you to be more intentional in 2025. Be more intentional about spiritual awareness. Be more intentional of the devil's cunning devices. Do your own studying. When we have Bible study on Wednesday night, go home and read again. Read over and over again. Listen to it over and over again to make sure you're digging deep, because what Sister Rena is going through is something different than what Sister Tiffany is going through. And she might see a different light in it than Sister Tiffany sees, because she's reading and studying so that it impacts her, that she can be more intentional and spiritually aware of what God's doing in her life, of what God's doing, what is going on around her, and more, and what the devil in his cunning, slewfoot ways is trying to do. We have to be spiritually aware in order to discern that. So today, I want to encourage you to be more intentional, be more spiritually aware in 2025 of everything that you do.